if you are thinking about purchasing a home in the near future, then you are going to want to listen to today's video all the way through, because we are talking about what you want to know before you buy a house, basically just like how to buy a house in Oregon. And these will apply across the board. A lot of this will apply in other areas as well, but there are little differences that take place, and just differences in how different states do things as far as real estate laws go. So we are based out of Oregon, and if you are watching this and you're someone who is thinking about relocating to or just buying or selling in Oregon, we would love to help. We get calls, texts, and emails from people like you who are watching our videos and relocating to our area all the time, and we love it. So I will put our contact information below.
This is a great topic because I don't know necessarily too many of these processes statewide, nationwide. This subject's really not brought up all that much, like the actual deal side of how to purchase a home. So if you're another broker listening to this video and maybe even a buyer or seller in your area, we'd love to see the comments. And maybe what we're doing here in Oregon is different from your area. So it's always nice to have correspondence and feedback. Because our job as realtors is really to know the transaction process. And when you're working with like a rookie realtor or somebody that just simply doesn't do too many deals per year, they kind of have this rust. I'll call it realtor rust, because they're just unfamiliar with contracts. They're unfamiliar with the process. They don't even know sometimes how to turn in earnest money. That's like 101 real estate, because buyers simply have to do that within 3 business days, usually, of getting a home under contract. So hopefully we can break stuff down for you guys today, and you can walk away feeling more confident in any offer that's accepted. And then even before the offer, we can talk about that as well.
Yes. All right. So let's just first off answer some first-time buyer common questions, things you're going to want to know, and then we can move into if there's anything else about the process that we think is really important, like the steps.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is, what is the very first step in the home buying process? How do I even get started? What do I do? Very first thing. And this is something that I think different realtors might answer differently. However, if you are working with us, the very first step is going to be send us an email. That's usually, you can communicate whatever way is best for you, but usually that's just the simplest way to reach us. You can head over to our website, vettruscrawfordrealty.com. Send us an email and we will get a home buyer consultation on the schedule. If you're not in the area, like many of our clients are not, then we will do this over the phone. We can do it over FaceTime, Zoom. We can do it over Skype, really whatever you're most comfortable with. But it can even just be as simple as a phone call. And that's going to be the first thing you're going to want to do. From there, we'll point you to the direction of the next steps, give you kind of a little more clarity on what to expect, get your questions answered. But that's going to be the first thing.
And generally, these emails, they look something like this. So don't think about too much of what it needs to look like, how much detail you need to put. That is the point of our consultation afterwards. Initially, most emails, they come in and they look like this. Hello, my name's so-and-so. I'm from this area, and I'm exploring the option to move to Oregon. This area preferably. Is this something you can help me out with? And from there, it's our job to do that follow-up, shoot you an email back, or if you leave a name and phone number, I could even call you, and then we can set up a real time to talk and discuss your real estate options and what's going to best fit you.
The next question is, how many homes should I look at before making an offer?
Man,
what do you think?
This is a hard question because if you're like an uncertain person and you live across states and you've never visited the home, I see it sometimes harder for those type of clients or those type of people to submit an offer without ever actually seeing it in person. But for the majority of our out-of-state clients, we do video tours. We do HD high-quality video tours, and we send you them through a link so you're not missing out on any of those qualities. And they're pretty in-depth tours, and generally I'd say we do like 3. And then we have an offer submitted usually by that 3rd home.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I see it on the 2nd home, and even most cases the 1st. Yeah. So not most cases, but some cases the 1st. Excuse me.
But with all that being said, we have had plenty of clients relocation and in person. But since we're talking about relocation clients, we've had a lot of relocation clients where it does take we're consistently looking up houses or we're consistently doing home tours for them for homes in their price range for months before it they find the right one. So
Yeah.
it really just depends on you. There's no number. There's no limit. It's not like you're cut off after, you look
Yeah.
at 5 houses and we're done. It's as many as you need to feel comfortable. But don't be scared to buy the first house if it feels right for you, because we've done that personally. We've helped clients do it. And sometimes you just see that house and you just know. And so don't be scared of that. That doesn't mean it's the wrong decision because you haven't looked at other homes.
Right. And throughout all of this, setting up showings is one thing, but we're actually setting you up on a property watch. So during our consultation, when you reach out to us, you're going to tell us what type of home you're more interested in. As you're getting pre-approved, we'll have that pre-approval limit to keep you within the price ranges to stay within. And then you're going to get sent automatic email and updates for a very wide variety of area. So you can view these daily, weekly, or we can set them to come in only 3 times a week.
Yes.
It's really up to you and how motivated you are. So you can view most homes all online, and that's why the majority of buyers right now, 94% statistically, are all coming from online without ever seeing the home in person, which is pretty wild. And it's very new to this industry, I believe. I mean, within the last 6 years at least.
Yeah, even more recent, I feel like. I mean, I've been a full-time realtor for 8 years now, and I never saw this kind of people purchasing sight unseen, without seeing it first until probably 2 or 3 years ago. And now it's so common. People are doing it all the time.
Yeah. I was with a broker earlier this morning on a final walkthrough for an out-of-state client. She bought the home technically sight unseen, but we finally did the final walkthrough. And this was her first time seeing the home, but it was like she knew everything about the home. We did the inspection. We got all the reports back. It came out good. But the seller's agent realized, oh my gosh, your client had never seen this home yet, and we're about ready to close in 14 days from now. And she's all like, man, how do you do that? That's so stressful. And she's done it once in her life, over 20 plus years of real estate. And she just said, I don't ever want to do that again. But even though she had a successful closing, there was so much pressure on the agents, so us helping you buy the home, she just felt like she didn't want to mess up or mislead or leave any details out that you guys, our audience, wanting to purchase a home doesn't know about, which is very important. And we've set systems in place for that reason. So most purchases that you're going to make, you will be very happy, but ultimately know exactly what you're purchasing.
Were there any surprises with her? Was she
No.
happy with the property? How did it go down?
She was like, this is even better than I thought. The pictures I thought sold it, but this is so much better. She calls it her princess house because she's been showing all of her friends this new purchase she's made in Kaiser, Oregon.
That's awesome.
And they're just so happy. And it's one of her forever homes now. She looks to stay here for 30 plus years and really take care and nurture this home like the current owners have.
I love that. Okay. And that, again, that usually is the experience when, I do a lot of my final walkthroughs with buyers. It's their first time seeing the home, or just not even final walkthroughs, just closing. At closing, that's their first time seeing the home. I get there, give them the keys, and they get to see it for the very first time. And it's always what I hear is it's better, even better in person. And that's the goal. That's what we want. We don't want any negative surprises. We only want good surprises for you guys when you find your house, or when you finally get here. So, what is a buyer's agent?
Buyer's agent. So the buyer's agent is somebody that represents you. So helps you write the offer and supports you in the negotiation process. Buyer's agents are very valuable. And by the way, they are free for you guys to be using. Yep. So feel free to reach out to an agent. I keep saying free. I don't know.
Huh?
I keep saying the word free.
Oh.
But feel free. I'm going to say it again.
It's free.
It's
feel free.
Yeah.
Yes.
To reach out to an agent, though, that's what they're for, and it costs you nothing. And people don't understand how that works because they figure, I'm contacting you. Oh, you're spending time showing me all these homes. How are you paid? And they almost feel guilty in a way, especially if the process is going a little longer than they thought it would have. Yeah. But don't. The way we get paid is through commission negotiated by the seller and their seller's agent. And until that home is closed and under contract, we don't get paid. But there's value in using a buyer's agent because of the negotiations, but also representation. You can go hire a lawyer and they'll draw up paperwork, but there's a lot of indifferences. A lot of seller agents don't even want to work with a lawyer because they like kind of get intimidated. That was another conversation I just had this morning about one of this individual's transactions, and it was lawyer based. And she's just like, oh, we're just so scared and timid once lawyers get involved, because then sometimes it's held up in the court systems and yada, yada, yada. But it is valuable to have a buyer's agent for representation. You have backup legally to make legal grounds if something were to go wrong during the transaction. But then you have a very powerful tool, and that's somebody that knows the industry and knows the surrounding areas that you're wanting to purchase in, so they can negotiate successfully on your behalf. Whether at times, you might have to pay full ask price because of how competitive markets are, or this particular home you're interested in. But there are conveniences, I would say. You are just worrying about moving, I would say, honestly. Yes, you pay for an inspection, but if you have trust in your broker you're working with, I'm setting up that inspection for you. I'm attending the inspection for you. We'll send you the report. Okay, now you and I discuss, and then we're on to the appraisal process. So there are a lot of conveniences in having a real estate professional manage your transaction for you. And then a lot of that comes with open communication between you and your buyer's agent. And that trust factor really comes in handy. Yeah. And I don't see how people are doing it. What should I say? Like a phone call and making like a $450,000 transaction just between phones without any representation. That's a lot of money to be playing around with.
That's true.
But in the end, people, they have their own experiences too, and you can't really argue with it sometimes.
Right. Okay. Next question is, do I pay for the home inspection? Yes, that is your responsibility as a buyer to pay for the home inspection. So a little bit about the home buying process is, once you get an offer accepted on a house, you then have, unless we write it differently in the contract, 10 business days from the day it starts, the day your offer is accepted, to get your inspections done and negotiate any repairs, and still back out and keep your money during that time, as long as it's within that first 10 business day period called your inspection period. So you do pay for your home inspection. Generally, it depends on, the area, the size of the home, the square footage comes into play a lot, but I'm going to say around $450 to $500 is usually what we see for just a basic standard home inspection. And if something comes back on the inspection that you just can't live with, and you're not willing, the sellers aren't willing to work with you, they're not willing to negotiate, then you can back out and keep your earnest money, as long as you do it, like I said, within that first 10 business days. So the inspection is very important, but it is your responsibility to pay for it. So you also don't want to just be, getting all these homes under contract with the mindset of, well, I can just back out if I don't like it. Because you can. The Oregon sale agreement is written in favor of the buyers. You got a lot of outs, to be quite honest. It's not that big of a, I don't want to say what's the right word. Not big of a deal isn't the right word, but not that big of a commitment, I guess I should say. That sounds horrible, but it's true. As a buyer, you've got quite a few outs in our sale agreement, but there is that, if you're keep writing up offers and getting houses under contract, you're putting the sellers in a bad position, and it's not very nice to do to your realtors, but at the end of the day, you're going to be paying for a lot of inspections. So you want to really know if you like the house.
The average home inspection, I would say, is about $475.
Yeah.
That's going to probably be your average starting base. And then from there, you can do add-ons like a sewer scope or radon test. A sewer scope's going to probably be $100, $125. A radon test, it's probably an additional $75. So what I do love about what we do is the conveniences of buying a property and you not necessarily having to do much because you have buyer's representation.
Yeah.
That's one of our responsibilities, to guide you through this buying process. And we have inspectors in our back pockets, and we are not paid to use them. They don't give us any type of referral fees or anything. They just give us good service for you guys to have happy transactions with.
Yeah.
And I have one that I prefer to use most of the time, and our relationship is great. And if you ever do need an inspector, you just let us know. But once we do enter that inspection period, I will be recommending you use this individual. If you have your own guy, so be it, and we'll use your guy.
Yeah. Like he said, we have a great inspector, and the reason we think he's great is because our buyers are always so happy with him, with his services and just the way that he does things. And so that's really what we want our buyers to be happy with whoever we recommend them to. So, and that's something we can do everything regarding the home inspection, from facilitating it. We can schedule it. We can show up and handle it all. You don't even have to, be there, because a lot of our clients just can't fly out for that inspection. So if you want to be there, you can, but we can also handle everything. So that is a little bit about the inspection period. Okay. The last question is, how soon can you move in after buying a house?
That differs. It depends on the offer. Now, if we're a cash offer, I've had a week closing date. Just this month, I did a 14-day turnaround on a cash offer. Seller got out in 14 days. It was a pretty wild situation, and things aligned very well. So cash, things move a lot quicker if the seller is willing to be out by then. Yeah. And that's the real key is you can send in these very aggressive offers with shorter closing day periods, especially if you're working with cash. But sellers sometimes aren't comfortable with that, because think about it, they have to have a replacement property, and they have to maybe hire a mover or just coordinate their rental. So usually I would say on average, everybody's going to say this number, but 30 to 35 days is going to be an average closing date. And that's what I see. Now, things vary when we get into loans, different loan programs. Majority are going to be using conventional loans. That's a 30-day closing period. So once we get an offer accepted, we get 30 days basically from start to finish. And the majority of that time frame, remember, it's a 10-day business day inspection period. The majority of the rest of those days is due to loans and the documentation and the underwriting process. So then escrow is getting all their work filed and put together for you guys to come in and sign after that 30-day period for the closing day. But on average, I would say 30 days for a conventional loan. FHA loan, VA home loan, I like putting 45-day closing periods. And now remember, just because we put a date on the offer doesn't mean things can be adjusted during the escrow time. So usually on most offers, I'll put a closing date or sooner, giving us the option, if all of our documentation's in order, if all of our inspections line up, if the appraisal comes out great, then it's up to the seller to agree to the adjusted closing date, but we have an opportunity to close earlier if all the ducks are in order.
And the Oregon sale agreement does say, as far as getting possession goes, it does say that the buyer will get possession at 5 o'clock on the day that we close, unless we specify differently. So that's something that can be changed in the contract as far as like when you actually get the keys. So sometimes the sellers, like Spencer said, sometimes they'll need extra time. Sometimes they'll say in the listing agreement up front, so you'll know before you even make an offer that they need more time. You might have to work with them, but usually it's going to be 5 o'clock on the day we close.
Yeah.
So,
and usually I'm calling the seller's agent when I'm writing my offer and making sure the convenience is there, so we're not rewriting things or countering back and forth on particular dates. I'm just calling the seller's agent saying, hey, what works with your client? What works with your seller? And then I'll communicate that with you guys, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Yes, that's good. Before we end, I just want to say thank you, because we truly appreciate every single one of you that tunes in with us. Every single person that, comments, likes, shares our videos. We appreciate you so much. And we very much appreciate every single one of our clients that comes and reaches out through these videos. Every one of you, we are seriously so blessed to work with the most amazing people. I just honestly can't believe how lucky we are, because every one of our clients, we are just like, man, you guys are the best. So thank you so much for listening to us, hanging out with us. If you haven't already, subscribe. We come on here every week with new videos. And like I said earlier, if you are thinking about relocating to Oregon, feel free to reach out. We can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you next week.